Today, a New York appeals court rejected Donald Trump's latest attempt to delay his civil fraud trial, allowing it to continue full steam ahead next week. And now that we have wrapped week one of this trial, we have some riveting new details, courtesy of Trump Organization Comptroller Jeff McConney, who took the stand and admitted that the valuations of Trump's properties were fraudulent, not by accident, but by design. Now, we have known for a while now that Trump was allegedly inflating the value of his apartments and his golf courses and so forth. Attorney General Letitia James presented that evidence to the judge in this trial, who has already found the Trump Organization guilty of fraud. But today we were given a detailed look at the extent to which Trump's business hyped the value of his properties, and it is staggering deceit. Take Mar-a-Lago. Last week, Judge Engoron ruled that Trump had inflated the value of his beach club by a whopping 2,300%. According to Trump's financial documents, Mar-a-Lago was worth between $426 million and $612 million, all based on the premise that it could be sold as a private residence. Now, today we learned that that was a complete farce, and that is because the deed for Mar-a-Lago clearly states it can only be used as a social club. And if Trump can't sell Mar-a-Lago as a private residence, then it would likely be worth a whole lot less, to the tune of $18 to $27.6 million, according to Palm Beach County's appraisal. And then there is Trump's iconic Rococo apartment in Trump Tower. Yesterday, prosecutors asked McConney about the value of that very shiny penthouse, which at one point was, according to Trump, worth $180 million. And yet, a similar Manhattan apartment with extras, including a waterfront view, and which was allegedly owned by a foreign royal, that similar apartment was more than $100 million cheaper than what Trump valued his at. Now, Mr. McConney, the Trump Organization Comptroller, claimed his $180 million estimate was based on square footage, and that Trump's blindingly gold apartment was so expensive because it was 30,000 square feet. But that estimate, according to the judge in this case, is also an obvious lie. Trump's triplex is really around 10,000 square feet, which is, by the way, thousands of feet smaller than the similar apartment worth $100 million less. Joining me now is Christy Greenberg, former federal prosecutor and former deputy chief for the criminal division of the Southern District of New York. Christy, thanks for joining me here. I mean, there is like exaggeration and then there's just bold-faced lying. Were you surprised by the audacity of these inflations?
Well, this was laid out, a lot of this was laid out in the judge's order last week. And it's interesting because there the judge said, look, this is a documents case on that one count on just the perpetual fraud. It's a documents case. This is plainly false, just given the magnitude of these numbers and how different they are. This is egregious. And you used these documents in business, so therefore, you're liable for that other count. But now we're getting into at the trial other counts: insurance fraud, falsified business records, falsified financial statements. And there you have to show intent to defraud and that these are materially false statements, that somebody, whether it's a lender or insurer, would have relied on them to give them favorable terms. And, this defense that they are peddling, which is, valuation, it's more of an art than a science. It's like, well, but this is math. Like, these numbers don't add up. They're nowhere close to any of the other appraisals that are comparable. Like, it can't be the case. And it seems like they're going to have an expert say that there's no such thing as an objective valuation and therefore you can never have an intent to defraud with the valuation, which is just, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, well, especially when you're saying, oh, this Mar-a-Lago's worth so much money because it can be sold as a private residence, and the deed says that it can never be sold as a private residence, right?
Right. And then that's where you have the judge saying, we're in fantasy world here. We're not in real world, where deeds don't matter, where, the square footage doesn't, it can be inflated by, 10,000, 20,000 square feet, where objective numbers aren't being calculated properly. Like, it's just, it defies logic.
I do wonder, there's a brand premium that they attach to the value of some of these properties, saying because it has the word Trump on it, it's worth 30 to 50% more. Now, that seems more fungible, right? Like, depending on what year of Trumpism we're talking about, maybe it's worth more before the presidential election than it is after the fact. Is that something where there's any merit to the argument that the name matters, and the inability to peg a specific value is not inherently fraudulent, or pegging a specific value to it is not inherently fraudulent?
Well, I think the issue there is when you have a singular property and he's playing both sides of it. So when he's talking to the IRS, that property all of a sudden has a low value so that his liability goes down on taxes. But then that same property, when he wants to get a favorable term on a loan, is a high value. So you can't have it both ways.